right, family, we are live. We are live. Man, this is something. Y'all see where we at?
Wow.
See where we at? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to y'all. Y'all know this gentleman right here. The most recent time I seen you, Professor Kaba, was on Higher Level Conversations with 19 Keys.
Yes, man.
Amazing episode. But family, I want to present to y'all once again to my platform, Professor Kaba. Welcome back, my brother.
My brother Rich, thank you so much for this opportunity just to be in this space, and this energy is just powerful, and the folk that we've had a chance to talk to, and it's just been a great experience, brother. So I thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, I'm doing something with the elders family for Blueprint for God Power 2. We'll be making that announcement soon. And I feel as though the wisdom of the elders is something that we have thrown away for whatever reason. And it's reflected in our culture, and you can see where we're going with it. And I just want to ask you, Professor Kaba, in terms of the elders in the community and in terms of the youth, what do you think is the main thing that's going to prevent us from pointing fingers at one another? The elders saying, y'all, da-da-da, and the youth saying, y'all messed up, that's why we in the condition we in. What's going to stop the finger pointing right now, do you think, Professor Kaba?
Conversations. Mm-hmm. You know, just like I brought my grandson with me to this event.
Yes.
You know,
mind if I show him or no? I don't want
to. The concept is the fact that the important thing, there's a book written by Dr. Fukia, and it's titled Kindezi, The Art of Congolese Babysitting. He is a brother from the Congo. And in this book, he talks about the important relationship between the grandparents and the grandchildren. Mm-hmm. And he talks about the fact that the unique relationship is that the grandchildren are fresh from the ancestral line, and they're coming into the world. Mm-hmm. The grandparents have experienced life, and they're on their way back to the ancestral line. Mm-hmm. And so this relationship between the grandparent and the grandchild is very unique. So while the working population is out doing the work, whatever it may be, agriculture, they might be building buildings, cooking food, whatever the job is between the ages of, let's say, 19 and 65, that's what they're doing. But the reality is the fact that the relationship between the grandparents and the children, the grandparents are laying out the customs, the mores, the stories, you know, the way in which society functions and works. While the grandchildren are taking in and reflecting back to the grandparents, reminding the grandparents where they're about to go back into and where they came from. So it's continuity. And so I think the first thing that needs to happen, you know, like I say, when we're going to be doing workshops on black male and female relationships, one of the first things I tell us, don't talk about all the things we hate about each other. Start with all the things we love about each other, and then build from there on areas that we can improve. The same is true with our younger and the elder. There's a song that was in the movie Glory about Dr. Martin Luther King, where it's Common and it's John Legend. It's called Glory. And in it, Common talks about the wisdom of the elders and the energy of the youngers. Together, this relationship is so powerful and so real. And this is what I believe we should do. Let's stop pointing the fingers, period. Let's just come together to talk. Let's just come together and experience life. And in that relationship, we then can talk about various things. But for right now, I really feel that we have to start talking. And you know, Brother Rich, my background in education, specifically with children, I've taught every grade, I've taught every subject. I've taught college. So I've been exposed to children throughout my life, and because I'm teaching them, I have to think like them. So in a lot of ways, I think like a child. You know, you'd be surprised how my mind functions. Even with high level things that I've got to do, I'm still thinking like a child. I'm breaking things down to its lowest denominator in order for me to build from what I have. And so I think that what we have to do because of this, I have a feeling I know how children think. And everything that we're seeing happening now, I was expecting. I saw it developing itself because you see, a prophet is not a psychic. A prophet is just a good historian. Because when you know what happened in the past, you can interpret what's happening in the present, and you can predict what's happening or what's going to happen in the future. And when it happens, everybody says, wow, you must have had a psychic experience. No, I just know history. It's natural. Nature repeats itself. It rhymes itself so many different times. So what I think between the younger and the elder, all we have to do is set up a time that we can talk. Let's put our phones down and let's just talk. Find out about what they're doing. Ask them basic understandings and let them ask us questions. Minute judge, less judge I. We got to stop judging each other. Because the younger wouldn't be here without us. And when you look at music and you look at hip hop, okay, hip hop was born out of doo-wop, the Motown sound, you know, built out of the the flamingos, you know, that type of music. And doo-wop was born out of bebop. So there's a continuity. Nothing is new. And so what we have to do is just talk to each other. That is the basic response that I have. Because we have to know how to talk to each other. And we have to share. And the one thing that the younger and the elder will come to understand is that if I were you, where you are now, I would be the same. And the younger, if they were born in my generation, then they'd be me.
Wow. Wow.
But because of the differences, and this is something that I say to the elders, one thing that happens to us is we forget what it's like to be young. And young people have no idea what it is to be old or elder. And so in this misunderstanding creates the friction. And then, of course, we're in a society that is battling and don't want us to come together. Because once the elder and the younger get together, once the man and the woman get together, this game is up. Because our tradition is so strong when we work together. And this society knows. White supremacy knows. And that's an oxymoron, because there's nothing supreme about white, but I'll just say it like that.
Well,
they know once we get together, it's done.
Let me ask you this, Professor Kaba. Sometimes I feel as though, I mean, when I was young, I lived with my mother and my grandmother. My father was killed probably 2 weeks before I was born, so I never got a chance to meet him or anything. So I grew up with my mother and my grandmother. One of the things the youth used to do back in the day is we would ask our grandparents a lot of questions because they have so much experience. Do you think Google has replaced the role of the grandparents in the sense that a person just Googles questions they normally would ask grandpa or grandma? They simply Google it. So I want to ask you, as an elder, what do you think about the youth turning to Google and technology instead of seeking the wisdom of the elders? And do you think the further AI advances, the least society will look at the elders as being an important tool and a vital tool to the future of civilization?
I think we have to use our ingenuity as elders not to let that happen. You know, with my own children, with my grandchildren, with the children I taught in school, I've always had dynamic relationships with them. I've never let anything get between us because I love them too much to let anything get between us. So we have got to find a way that we are able to get between the two. Because no matter what the artificial intelligence is, nothing is more powerful than natural intelligence. And when I think of my time with scholars such as Professor John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, Ivan Van Sertima, Shashi McIntyre, I could go through the list of the scholars that I sat with and listened to them, asked them questions. I see YouTube and all of the presentations, of which some of them I was there. My physical relationship, being in the presence of these scholars, is so far superior to YouTube. Because you pick up an energy.
An energy, yes.
There's an energy that is there that artificial intelligence can never translate through that that medium. And so there is nothing like a grandfather and a grandson, or a grandmother and a grandson, or a grandfather and a granddaughter, or a grandmother and a granddaughter. Nothing can take the place of that dynamic relationship, that energy that is transmitted from one to the other and back and forth. I'm energized by my grandchildren. My grandchildren are energized by me personally. We have to realize that and not allow artificial intelligence to slip in. Don't negate it because it's part of the future, but it is not the future. And we have to understand nothing is more powerful than natural intelligence, no matter what anybody may try to do. So that what we've got to start to do is begin to move forward with this and come to a very clear understanding of what it is that we have to do, and just have sit-down conversations. But first we have to have this conversation with ourselves.
Indeed.
And what has the society done to us as elders? That we would allow someone else or something else to get in between. I would brave the fires of hell to make sure that everything's right with our children and with our families and with our women. So that we can't allow the society to bamboozle us like they're attempting to bamboozle our children. We have to be clear thinkers and stand forward righteously with this and be able to do what's necessary.
Now, before Dr. B gets out of here, I'm alive. I want you to join us on this one. Sorry, Dr. B. Hank, you too. Come here.
My brother.
Yo, so we having a good time. We backstage right now. We're filming bonus content for the Blueprint for God Power 2 workshop, which we're gonna make an announcement very soon.
Yes, man.
I remember.
Okay.
Much later, brother.
Peace.
So I wanna-
appreciate you.
Yes.
No doubt.
Yes.
All right.
I wanna ask the three brothers one question before we get out of here. Should I move my? No, I can't do that no more. I want to ask you one question. In terms of, because today was about communicating, a conversation with God, conversation with your higher self, the universe. With them, there's many names for this entity we call God, and we did it in prayer form. What I want to ask you is, in terms of communicating with this supreme infinite intelligence, we're taught that we communicate and we talk with our mouth. But I noticed all three of you gentlemen, as well as Sister Myra and the other speakers here today, you seem to not be able to keep your body still while you're talking. So in terms of communication, and black people get made fun of a lot when we talk, because we always clapping our hands and stomping our feet, and they make fun of the girls who be moving their necks. We can't keep still for some reason when we talk. So how much is body movement an important factor when it comes to communicating with God? Pass the mic, Professor Kaba, when you talk, you can start then. When you're done, just give them the mic. Yeah.
Well, hand movements, body movements is part of communication. This is just part and parcel of how we communicate. I often say that I could be standing across the street watching a brother and a sister talking, or a brother, black folk talking across the street. I may not hear what they're saying, but I can pick up the temperament of the conversation. Sister got the hand on the kimba, or the head moving back and forth. Part of the way in which we express ourselves, we are in vibrations. And so what comes out of our mouth is one way of communicating. What comes out of our body is another. Like when you think about, the concept of, for instance, like we say, she can sing. Okay, yeah. But for black folk, when you're dealing with an Aretha Franklin or Nina Simone or one of the sisters that are singing, there's no word in the English language that allows us to really express it. So we say, she can sing. We change the even word. And then if she's really a great singer, then we got to say, we inflect our voice. She can sing.
Sing. You got to put emphasis on it.
If she really did a concert that was out of sight, then our body, she can sing. Okay? So we are an expressive people. Everything that we do is part of nature. It's part of the cosmos. And so a lot of times what we do have nothing to do with our control. Sometimes we'd like to control it, but we can't. And this is what makes us who we are. We got flavor. And that flavor should never be denied. Just one more thing. in the Olympics where you see the brothers and the sisters, their profile at the end, they say, well, you can't do that. But we're not doing that as braggadocio. We're not doing that like we're bragging. We're doing that because we have become so inspired by our actions and our feats. And what we do, this is not telling somebody I'm better than you. This is just saying I love myself for what I just did.
Yeah.
But this world can't understand it because in white supremacy, there's always a hierarchical structure that tries to control you. So if you should feel good about yourself, that means that the master don't have control over you. So we can't help but move our bodies and our heads and our everything else that go with it.
Indeed.
The English language does not allow us to express our deepest cosmic reality.
You mind if I go next? I got to tag.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Melanin,
I'm sorry,
rhythm,
Dr.
and
B.
spice.
Yeah, Dr. B.
Go ahead, Dr. B.
It's all about kinesiology. If you can feel it, you can reach it. We've been told to see it, to see it, to see it. It's about feeling it.
Kinesiology.
If you can feel it,
I'm studying that.
you're there. But you have to feel as if you're already there. If you feel you're there, you're there. Your body knows because I got the hiccups. The subconscious mind is saying, yes, we are there. Feel it. It's about the feeling. Yes, I do.
Kinesiology. Thank you, Dr.
Rhythm,
B. Thank you, Dr.
spice,
B. Appreciate it, my brother.
And everything nice. It's the spice, it's the rhythm, it's the melanin. And that's all I got to say about that.
Hey,
Dr. B, it was a pleasure meeting you, brother. And I want to find out about that technology. Okay.
hey, leave your contact info for the people, both of y'all, so they could reach out to y'all. Any books, projects y'all got coming
Yo,
up?
Dr.
anything.
B's a mad scientist too, Brother Rich.
Yeah, I know.
I like that about him.
I know.
He's a mad scientist. Yo, melanin, rhythm. And it's just not exclusive to the American experience with jazz and spirituals. It's also, if you look at the areas of the Mediterranean, you look at how Italians express themselves, but they also got spicy food. You know, if you ever look at Italians, you know, the way they move and jerk. Remember Fonzie? Remember, you know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly.
So it's the spice.
About the Moors.
The Moors. It's the movement, it's the spice, and it's the rhythm. Melanin, spice, rhythm. That's what I say.
Leave your contact info.
Oh,
yeah,
contact.
yeah.
YouTube, Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids. www.orgone, O-R-G-O-N-E, the number 4, Y-O-U.com. And I want to thank you, Brother Rich, for having me think about spice, melanin, and rhythm.
Hotep family, www.kabakamene.com, KABAKAMENE.com. You can go to my Instagram page. I use my Instagram page like my community bulletin board. It's like the meeting at the African Square, where I put up information that lets you know where I'll be, the work that I'm doing, and all the other things that go into it. Brother Rich, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for bringing us together, to be able to make this happen for the community, because the work that you're doing is phenomenal, is groundbreaking, and I just want to thank you, brother, tell you I love you, respect you, and I honor you for all that you're doing, your generation. I just want to let you know one thing. It's going to be all right.
Ubuntu, Ubuntu, Ubuntu.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. All right.